All right, so we are officially live in effect. We're gonna wait a little bit for whoever is wanting to watch can come on and check it out. You know what I'm saying? In the meantime, before we do that, let me go ahead and do my intro. Of course, I'm your brother Zoe Muzosar Ankh Hat. The full name. Everybody like to shorten it down to Zoe, so that's how you get your bro Zoe, because I'm your brother. You know what I'm saying? Your bro Zoe. You know what I'm saying? So uh Polka Dot Rabbit podcast, we are here mainly to uplift humanity, but in addition to assist in awakening the melanated, woolly haired beings that have been asleep for quite some time, but I'm very happy to see they're starting to slowly wake up, which I'm very happy to see that. Okay, if you haven't already, please go polka dot rabbit podcast.com. Get my book, Bicultural Living and Leaving the World of Illusions. A lot of people ask a lot of questions of, again, I always like to say this because I have such diverse guests, diverse topics, and so on. That book explains how I was able to have so much diversity in my life. Okay. And that's enough for me. Tonight we're gonna have another individual. It seems like he's had a very diverse upbringing as well. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, introduce, tell the people who you are. Go from there.
Hi, my name is Giza the Alchemist. My actual name is Taylor, right? I was born in '97, and I feel like the thing that would describe me the most is I had this. It's like a memory that I live by. When I
Hmm.
was in kindergarten or pre-K, right? There was like a bunch of circles. There was a circle of like a bunch of us kids, right? And we were all like sitting down, and the teacher went to go ask each and every one of them what they wanted to be, and some were like a veterinarian, a cop, or a lawyer or whatever, right? All jobs, right? And then I was the last one. I was the only I was the only like nine ether, child there, right?
Hmm.
And you know what nine ether means, yeah, of course. And then
Hmm.
they asked me what I wanted to be, and I said I wanted to be a king. That was my whole
Hmm.
like that was like my call to action in a way.
Hmm.
And I remember like the experience of having a I wouldn't really say a vision, but just like a feeling of like that everything was golden when I was thinking that. I just felt like,
Hmm.
it was pure energy. Like
Hmm.
I felt like for me it was a one of like a core memory because when I was really young, and it made me strive to live in that image,
Hmm.
in terms of like my bad. Like because a king is a righteous man, like
Hmm.
you have to live by ma'at, you have to serve ma'at and not your animal passions. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
justice, righteousness, virtue, goodness, kindness. Like you have to be. It's almost like you're a knight or something, and
Hmm.
you submit to the order, or like
Hmm.
you're Muslim and you submit to Allah. Like it's like the same thing. Like
Hmm.
you respect something that's a little bit beyond you, and it protects you and other people because it's like a law that we all follow. That's why we have
Hmm.
laws. Like, if it's not for
Hmm.
laws and measurements, like things would be chaotic.
Hmm.
So I think even in when you're dealing with people, when you're dealing with the world, like the first thing that I really started studying when I was 15 was like cosmic laws,
Hmm.
or the seven hermetic principles,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And just the different ways. Like I wanted to learn how the mind worked, right? And then how the mind interacted with the world and like what effect it had
All right.
upon it.
Don't
You know?
don't jump to it. I'm gonna get to that. Don't jump too far ahead yet.
Oh,
we're
okay,
gonna
okay,
we're
okay.
gonna walk there. So, all right. So you said that you were one of the few non-ether beings growing up in childhood. So yeah, how was your childhood growing up? How was that?
It was nice. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I was born in New York in North
Mm-hmm.
Rockland, like Rockland County. I was born in '97, Nyack Hospital. And initially I was raised Christian, right?
Mm-hmm.
But my parents were like a little bit more like wiser than most.
Mm-hmm.
And terms of like the way that my mother raised me and everything. Very loving, very kind. We lived in like a good setting.
Mm-hmm.
At first we had like the first house was like a regular size, and then like because of my mom's like dream and my parents' dream, they worked together. We moved up and got like bigger housing each time, and I got like basically everything that I ever desired. I have two brothers, younger and
Mm-hmm.
older.
Mm-hmm.
My older brother I actually share the same birthday with on
Oh
June
wow.
14th, but like
I'm a
nine
middle
years
brother
apart.
too.
Yeah,
I'm a
yeah.
middle brother too.
He's 9 years older than me, and then my younger brother is a year and 2 months younger.
Oh,
And
okay.
I love them both dearly, and like I
Mm-hmm.
grew up with them, and it was just fun. Like I would play video
Mm-hmm.
games with my younger brother Miles all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and my
Yeah,
older
yeah.
brother the same thing. Like we would just play video games together. We would like
Which
go
which part
places.
of which part is that? Which part of New York you said it was?
North Rockland.
Where's that at exactly?
It's like 45 minutes north of Manhattan. It's
Oh,
near the
okay.
Hudson River.
Oh,
Near the
okay.
Hudson River. Yeah.
Is it like it's near like Austining and like is that kind of around the Austining in that area?
Hmm?
Like near Austining?
Austin. I don't know exactly where that is. I just know
What's
it's
the
near
other
the
place?
Hudson.
I know
It's
what you're saying.
really
I know that
close.
general area. Yeah, I
Yeah.
got you. I'm with you. All right, cool. So we weren't in the city. You were you were out.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah. I
wasn't
got you. I got
my
you.
yeah.
I have to. When people just say New York, you know what I'm saying? Most people just think the city. People don't realize number
New
one
York
how
is
big New
New
York
York is
is. You know
huge.
what I'm saying?
New
And
York
it's
is
way
huge.
more than
Yeah.
just the city. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like I remember I flew into Austining once, and I just remembered all I saw was golf courses and trees. That's it. You know what I'm saying? So people gotta. That's why I had to say like which part of New York. Okay, cool. All right. So how was it? How was it being growing up around there, like the and being one of the few melanated cats? Was it pretty cool? I mean,
I mean, cool. I mean, I didn't even know I would say cool because I felt like I wanted to be, just around more of my people.
yeah,
It
yeah,
was
yeah.
like not because I was like I enjoyed and I still do very much enjoy my solace, right? Because I would just observe like
Hmm.
what I would now say to be is Nuabu because I was always studying like consciousness. Like I was just
Hmm.
observing. I was contemplating like myself and observing
Yeah.
like myself and observing like whatever was going on in my mind the entire time. Even as a kid, I was
Hmm.
just like, "What is this? I need to know
Yeah.
because if I don't
Yeah.
know,
You
like
need to know.
I'm not going to be able to function in this world properly. I know this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
It's
spend
like
as much time as possible.
you see you look at life outside of the matrix looking in. You're like, what is that? And what is it for real? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
focusing on the self, like you're like this is literally like the thing that creates the projection, the
Yeah. Yeah.
observer,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
My
Exactly.
moon,
Exactly.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
just connecting to that principle, which is like beyond even spirit and soul in a way, because it's just
Okay.
like consciousness,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
because
Yeah.
spirit and soul
Yeah.
is spirit's personality, that's in time, is creation,
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
like in a way. Yeah, it depends, what I'm talking about, but like, yeah.
Mhm. So before we get too heavy into this, I got to get the backstory down. So okay, so it makes more sense now that you're a swimmer and
Hmm.
training for the Olympics, right?
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Because like, see, my thing is like this. Me, growing up where I grew up, it would make sense for somebody that looks like you to be a swimmer, to be a golfer. You know what I'm saying? It makes sense just because melanated people out when they have that opportunities, they do that. It's not it's not they're not the majority. They're even more the
Hmm.
minority, but they still do it. So please tell me that whole swimming story. I'm so interested to hear about this.
So my older brother taught me how to swim when I was 5,
Hmm.
right? Just took me in the
Hmm.
pool and I was swimming around, paddle my arms and whatnot, and then I started swimming like pretty early on, and I
Hmm.
just swim for fun, right?
Hmm.
One time I was like 6, 7. I got taken to the pool just for a lesson, just to
Hmm.
try it out. Not a lesson really, like just to try it out because I already knew how to swim.
Hmm.
And I remember like swimming to one side of the pool and then back,
Hmm.
and I was like, too long, bro. I'm done. I got out. I
Hmm.
was like, yeah, I'm not doing this, you know. And it's funny because that's a team that I end up swimming with later on, right?
Yeah.
And I actually knew the coach, but I was way younger at the time, so it was kind of funny. Um, but after that, then I didn't start swimming like competitively until I was 13.
Mhm.
And the crazy story with this too, it was amazing. Like I started swimming when I was 13. You know, I walk into the pool deck, and my mom's like, "Okay, look, Coach Josh. Like Coach Josh is my Dominican coach's name. My first coach, right? He was
Mhm.
like, I'm not bringing this is not just any regular person. I'm bringing you Chocolate Phelps." And that's how like my
Mhm.
mom described me, because like
Mhm.
she,
Mhm.
like the type of way I was raised, I was very responsible. I won't say strict, but definitely disciplined, right?
Mhm.
And whenever we would like play a sport, she was like, "You gotta play to win. Like you gotta be like Tiger Woods. You gotta be like Michael
Yeah,
Jordan."
yeah,
She was
yeah.
showing me like
Be
all
the
these
best.
like big people who won, and I was like, you know, because
Mhm.
why else? Like why else? Do that. So
Mhm.
swimming, my first year, so I'm in high school, right? I'm on the swim team. Uh, mm, there were like four groups. There was bronze, silver, gold, and senior Mets, right? So
Mhm.
they said you would be in bronze, their projection, right? Oh, you're gonna be in bronze for like a year, and then silver for two, and then you know gold for like a while. Then senior Mets, like it's gonna take a while to get there. And I was in bronze for like a week, maybe like 3 days. I was in silver for like a week and a half, and then
Mhm.
I was in gold for like 3 or 2. And I straight went to senior Mets right after that because I was just really glad I kept advancing. And it was my
Mhm.
first time like swimming competitively, but I just
Yeah,
kept
yeah,
like
yeah.
swimming faster and faster because like I felt like because the other teams I was with younger people and then people, oh my bad, and the people that I knew were in the most advanced lane, right? That were my age. I was like I have to get to that level because like I should not be with these
Mhm.
people, and I just kept swimming faster. Right? And my entire first season was just like a lot of W's in a way because I was always just swimming faster every single race, so I'd always be winning. Like literally just
Mhm. Mhm.
like straight up. Like I
Mhm.
went to states all 4 years of high school, right?
Mhm.
And the first time I went to states, it was funny because I barely made the sectionals time, right?
Mhm.
Just by a hair, right? Then I barely
Mhm.
made the regionals time, like just by a hair
Mhm.
again.
Mhm.
And then I like literally barely made like states. And but the way I made states
Mhm.
was funny because I qualified for the time, but there wasn't enough space at first. And
Mhm.
then there was this kid on the team who broke his arm.
Dang.
And I ended up swimming for him on the relay as an exchange, right? And so it was like
Mhm.
that was my first year in my freshman year in high
Mhm.
school, going to a swim meet, and I did pretty well, right? But then my sophomore year I went again, and then my junior and senior year I went to American Heritage Plantation, my sophomore through senior year, right? And that's when we won states, like, and I think it was the first time in the school's history, right? And I remember it was pretty amazing because like this was probably the craziest experience, right? Like we ended up
Mhm.
getting gold medals for like each time we won by like a large margin, but the first race I
Mhm.
think was the 200 medley, which is like 50 of every stroke, right? 50 fly, 50 back, 50 breast,
Mhm.
50 free. And I remember when I'm the anchor, I'm the last leg, right? And my breaststroker is coming back, and I'm looking at the opposite team, right? And first off, the guy who led off first doing like butterfly, I think, is Caleb Dressel, which he's like the one of the fastest swimmers right now. Like literally one of the fastest swimmers.
Mhm.
I swam against him in high school,
Mhm.
and he led off on the relay and went an insanely fast time. And I was just like, because I was so focused on my race, I was unfazed, but I also was just like, bro, we're gonna have to come back so hard. And I was ready to like, tell everybody else like, yo, we
Mm-hmm.
gotta hurry up, bro. We gotta go right now. Like this man is putting in work. And the thing was,
Mm-hmm.
not only he was fast, like his teammates were fast, right? And so like finally it's like me, it's my turn. On their side, that guy's already in the
Mm-hmm.
water, about to pop out. Like maybe he's 15 yards ahead of me already, right? Or about to be like 13, 10 yards. And I'm not even in the water yet, right? My breaststroker finally comes in. Craziest part was that like when I was moving, I kept so like they have to like touch the wall the same time your feet still have to be on the block, right? But by the time
Mm-hmm.
he touched the wall, like that, like my feet were on the block at the same time. And then the
Mm-hmm.
second like he finished, like I basically almost in like the last margin, like literally like in the last margin, like I would have gotten DQ'd if I did it too early, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Just in the last margin, like was able to push off. And
Mm-hmm.
then I did like a perfect dive. It was amazing, right? It was the greatest race I've ever had before. And the entire time I felt like you would say like omniscient. I just felt like I felt like I could do anything. Literally.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could surpass my limits. People were screaming. It was like so much fun. And I thought about just like I didn't want to lose. I
You're in
really,
a
really, really did not want to lose, Like I was
yeah.
really like I that was the
You're
last
in
thing I
a
wanted to do. I did not want to lose. And I remember like getting in the water and then doing like a really good
mm-hmm.
breakout
Mm-hmm.
and swimming, 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 swimming. And by the time I get to the wall, we both flip at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So then after that, I'm like, I got this guy, and I dust him. I do underwaters. I'm really good at underwaters, and then I'll break
Mm-hmm.
out, and then just swim as fast as possible to the other side. And I went like
Mm-hmm.
I went the fastest time I ever went before, and it was like a 20.6, 20.8
Mm-hmm.
in 50 yards freestyle.
And
And
you
then we
won?
had like a bunch of other races that we won, and we
Mm-hmm.
ended up getting like gold medals. That was my junior year, and then the same thing happened my senior year. And then I went right. Okay, so this is the whole story too, right? And then I went to
Well,
college.
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Yeah. So fast forward, right? Because you just gave us a good foundation of how you pretty much were the man when it came to swimming in high school. It
Yeah.
sounds like at college. So how do you go? That's all your preparation, and I want to hear the story about how this all works for the Olympics. How did that happen?
Okay, so when I was 13, when I first started swimming, right? I remember
Mm-hmm.
like just focusing on thinking of like why now that I'm okay, so I was 13, right? And I wanted to be a man. I literally wanted to test myself and discipline
Mm-hmm.
myself. So I wanted to pick something to commit to for a long amount of time because I would like do things for a little bit and then get rid of things and do
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
and like back and forth, right? Like typical Gemini, you would say. Like just like kind of fickle, moving around the slidey. And then I wanted to like really, really, really commit to one thing, and I chose
Mm-hmm.
swimming because I
Okay.
love being in the
That makes
water.
sense.
Literally, just love being in the water, right? And it's been like it's made me more of a man, literally.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's really taught me about self discipline
Yeah.
and
I
that
can
like
imagine.
life is not always easy. You got to work hard. You got to really put in
Mm-hmm.
a lot of work. And every single when I was 13, every single night after the first night I swam, I had the same exact dream, and it was me like being behind a swimming block, like being
Mm-hmm.
behind like maybe lane 4, and I was just standing there in like all of like the water, and I just felt like in it I was felt like I was in a state of bliss, and I felt like that's always been like my dream of like going to the Olympics because I don't know, like I always wanted to aim for the highest height, and the real reason that I wanted to go because it's not so much that I wanted to get a medal or even
Mm-hmm.
compete, but that I wanted to change the world, with my image, with my
Yeah.
perception,
Yeah.
because I know that
That's what'd you say?
people
The
only
chocolate
listen to
Phelps,
you.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
Chocolate
exactly.
Phelps.
Yeah, people only
I
really
like
listen
that
to
though,
you.
because that's what I'm saying, man. Because people don't see that image at all. You know what I'm saying? So no,
Yeah,
I definitely,
yeah, yeah. As a
just like the
swimmer, like
Tiger Wood things, Venus and Serena Williams. So so what was the actual process? So I know, like I was saying, you went through was it college? You like what's the process? You have to like qualify for it. What's the process specifically
You basically just
to
have
get to
to
the
swim
Olympics?
like all I have to do is just swim a faster time than I'm already swimming. Like I have a competition like next like this weekend, right?
Okay.
If at this weekend, let's say at this weekend I go in Olympic time. I go in Olympic time or like an Olympic trial time and I
Mhm.
qualify immediately for Olympic trials, right?
Mhm.
Meaning that like when Olympic trials shows up, I can immediately because
Oh,
of that swim go into it and I'm already there because of that time.
I
Like
got you.
if you got that time, like you're in,
Just 'cause I got you. I see
and
what
then
you're saying. So
you would go
if you're
there to
fast
compete.
enough if you're fast enough to compete,
Yeah.
if your time is fast enough to compete, it's like you automatically get to go against anybody else
Yeah,
that's
so
fast enough
so
to
it's
get.
it's
Okay,
it's
I
it's
got you.
just it's,
I'm
it's
with you.
you in the water. It's you, your
I
mind
got
in
you.
the
I got
water,
you. I'm
like your
with you.
body. So like it's
All
just
right.
about like getting faster. And
So,
with that, I have a
mhm,
really unique training regimen that like,
mhm,
you know, I kind of worked on when I used to work at Hollywood Beach as a ocean
mhm,
rescue. Oh,
mhm.
sorry. I
No,
used
you good.
yeah, and when I was over there, I had this schedule. Okay, so Corona hit, right? And I felt the collective fear, and I was like, I'm really trying to cut through this. I'm not trying to go into that depression, like this, that, like
Mhm.
me doing nothing, because I was already working at the
All
beach,
that
so I had
stuff.
money rolling in, right? So I was like, I'm good. And I was, I'm talking about at the beach, 3 months, right? Because COVID happened. 3 months at the beach, nobody in the water, nobody in the sand, nobody in the boardwalk, vacant. I could work
Mm.
out all day. I could swim in the water. I could,
Yeah.
running and everything. Like
Mhm.
I was ordering. It was so funny. I was ordering like acai bowls left and right because like they would just come and then like they would like leave it like on the side, and I would just like
Mhm.
run on the sand and get it, and then, come back, and I'll be like, it was just like it was a good time. I became a yogi because I wanted to, in a way, perfect my mental health because I realized that like
Mhm.
I was focusing a lot on physical health and
Mhm.
maybe emotional health, but not so much on the mental health in terms of clarity of thought, right? Because I
Mhm.
had a good imagination, but sometimes like the execution of what certain details of what I wanted wasn't working, so I wanted to work on my clarity, right? And just going about that process was amazing because in okay, so once you really start practicing yoga, right? So I started practicing Kemetic yoga, like Egyptian
Yeah.
yoga, you know?
Mhm.
And I was looking at the instructors. I did the morning sun salutation, like a Kemetic style. It was different. It's much more flexibility, much more stretching. And what I would do is I would wake up and I would watch the sunrise, or like I would basically wake up on a perfect day, wake up a little bit hour, or 30 minutes before sunrise, do the morning sun salutation, sit there, do pranayama, say a mantra in Egyptian tongue, right, language,
Mhm.
and then I would like focus on my arushat, my chakras, right, and breathe
Mhm.
up and down them, and then do like a ankh breathing,
Mhm.
and then just sit there in like stillness meditation, and then I would sit there for until the sun would rise, and then I would like wake up and sun gaze for like
Mhm.
30 minutes to an hour, and then after that I'd usually be working, so I would bike to work, be at the beach, and I'd be in the sun all day, and I'd be meditating and whatnot. And I was like, at the time, I just became a frugivore, so I was eating a lot of fruits, and I was also like
Mhm.
bodybuilding, so I was working
Mhm.
out. I did capoeira, um, running and swimming. Those were my main things, right? And so now my training regimen consists of you would say Kemetic yoga, and then I do a little bit of like Tai Chi and Qigong for
Mhm.
like energy
Mhm.
cultivation, and
Mhm.
also working on like the energy body, not the physical.
Mhm.
And I swim. Sometimes I train in the ocean, right? And I swim around the beach. And then I do capoeira sometimes over there. And for calisthenics, I try to train in terms of being like a gymnast to have like
Mhm.
the form, right? But also the strength. But mostly calisthenics, I'm talking about repetitions.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
use the rings. I use the wooden rings. They're really good for my shoulders, for
Mhm.
the rotation and everything, and for stability.
Mhm.
Resistance bands. I don't use weights at all, really, at all.
Mhm.
Even for legs. Um, and I actually have. So I have a friend who he's the third best Muay Thai fighter in Kazakhstan,
Oh
and
wow.
he's training me in Muay Thai, and I'm doing it for the
Okay.
sake of like strengthening my legs,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. It'll do it.
And, yeah, and I want to do that and practice Taekwondo as well. I already know capoeira, right? And then I have a friend also that I'm playing with. I'm playing soccer with to train
Hmm.
my legs and to train like
Yeah,
get just stronger legs in general because
yeah, 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 yeah.
in calisthenics I've always focused on my upper body to get like a stronger pull. Now I'm getting a stronger kick, and I have a training regimen that I created for myself.
Hmm.
And when I was at the beach, it was like I was planning things like this of what to do and how to execute the whole mission. So now that there's like I literally counted it. I saw the calendar. I was like, I think I have like 532 days.
Straight
If
training.
yeah, of straight
Yeah.
training until it would be like the Olympic trials, right? So I'm thinking to myself like I can definitely do that. And then I
Yeah.
have a lot of other because I study about I study the human body. I study like a lot of different esoteric books. Like I'm reading, I read The Science of Healing. I'm reading the Holy Tablets right now. I'm like really getting into it, right? I'm studying the language at this point. Like I'm like
Yeah.
in it. Like I have friends who want to get land, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, how
like
yeah,
I have I've yeah, yeah.
how did you get introduced to the information from Dr. York?
Um so my friend, his name is Antoine. We call him
Mm-hmm.
White.
Mm-hmm.
We were hanging out one time and because I used to work at the beach and then I met him at the beach and him and his friend Adrian, they were all about like sovereignty. They were
Yeah,
talking to me
yeah,
about the
yeah.
whole government thing. And they're talking
Mm-hmm.
to me about sovereignty and like freedom away from the system. And I was like, okay, you can just end up being a Moor. And he was like, what's a Moor? This is that. And I told him what a Moor was. And then one of them knew what it was, right? They were talking about the whole Moor thing, and then um at some point he was like, because okay, so he said, ask me a question. I was like, okay, what question did I ask you? He's like, okay, mm, not who do you believe in, but like who do you say is their teacher, right? And then Adrian said, oh, my teacher is self. And then my friend Antoine or White said my teacher is Thoth or Tahuti. And then
Mm-hmm.
I listened to him and I was like, oh, I know what he's talking about. And I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
like I know you like heard me. He's like, this is that, right? And then he was like, nah, Dr. York. And I was like, he's real, bro? Like he's a person? He was like, yeah. And he was like, this is what he looks like. And I was like, yo, you gotta be kidding me, bro. Like a reincarnated ancestor. And then he told me he was the 19th galactic elder. And I was like, nine, how many are there? It's like, what? And then
Yeah.
it was funny because I think I read Blackroot Science
Mm-hmm.
that talked about the 24 elders. That was the first time I was
Mm-hmm.
introduced to the concept. And it was amazing because it follows like Nuwapu, where it just talks about like the science of creation, like quantum physics, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And it follows that completely. There's like a 7-year fasting schedule that I'm on. That was like every Saturday I fast for like 24 hours or 36, depending on
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is. Eventually, as they say, it's a lofty thing, but they said the pyramid builders would only eat like every 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Like they would eat something, like 1, 2, 3, fast, eat something, this is that, and like but like good foods or whatever. But they're like their breath was more developed to the point where they didn't really need as much physical sustenance, right?
Mm-hmm.
They could just
Or
breathe
they was
like
just drinking liquids, drinking
yeah,
coconuts
or
all day.
that, yeah, all that, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. No, no, it's really amazing to me, man. Especially y'all younger cats, man. Like I said, I've been around information from Dr. York. Met him numerous times and just saw what he built and even saw the remnants of what he built before I even got into it. It's amazing just how that information just like keeps on spreading around the planet. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
it's connecting with young people like you, and how it's almost like a landing pad for all of the misinformation. It's like the people that are looking, a lot of these people come to this information for it to make sense. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
keeps on, yeah, it keeps on happening over and over, man. It's amazing, man. I tell people all the time. I swear that Dr. York, he had to be a time traveler, and I'm so serious when I say that, because like the stuff that he told us about back in the, actually before the '90s, and when he was writing the Leviathan books, but all that stuff, you look at what's happening today, it's all in these books, Leviathan 666. I'm just like, yo, it still amazes me to this day. And I've seen some stuff, but
Hmm.
that's real interesting. So nature. Let's talk about nature, man. Let's talk about your definition, of nature, how the importance of nature, how it's connected with it. Let's talk about that. Because you see nature versus machine, the title. Let's talk about nature.
So for me, right, being, I was born in New York. I was born like near you forest background, everything. I was always around nature. There would be
Mm,
deer, a lot of deer in my neighborhood and whatnot.
mm,
So for me, some of the greatest experience I've had with nature was working at Hollywood Beach.
mm,
And it was, I became a yogi, right? And I'm practicing yoga and I'm getting really into it. I'm strengthening myself. I'm doing bodybuilding. I'm eating like raw vegan, and then I'm doing like fruits and cleansing, waking up sun gazing. I'm just doing that over and over again,
mm,
right? I'm training myself. And then I'm doing like Kriya yoga, right? Like basically like yoga of learning how to harness sakem, energy, right?
mm,
And like life force energy,
mm,
right? And the experience was amazing, like it's it's like you're controlling like this. Now I know it as ether, but in the beginning I felt like I was just
mm,
controlling like the space that everything was forming around, you know but it was like
mm,
flowing through me, like
mm,
as me, and I was just like,
mm,
this is a lot of power, right? And it helped me connect to nature to the point where like I would experience like a like stupendous amount of synchronicities every single day. Like even the way the
yeah.
birds would fly over me, it would be like they were like singing like
Mm,
purely to me. Like it felt different. And the way I would interact with people, what I did, what I was eating, how the day was so smooth, like everything, I was, everything like just perfect. Everything was like, amazing.
mm,
And that's also added to my pursuit of being mostly Olympian, because like I feel like now, in this, we got this solar age, right, going on. It's our time, right? We got to be moving up.
mm, mm,
They even said the Hopi Indian prophecy is that like when the blue kachina's in the sky, which has been in the sky for a while, the Moors or the Mers will
mm,
take over the earth again, and the children of the rainbow will heal the earth and make it green again, right?
mm,
And that's like any of the indigenous people, right? Because we were always meant to rule, because it's like our birthright, and we know it's like giving someone a key to the center of the earth, and knowing that like they'll take care of it, and not sharing it with other people who know, they
don't know what
know
to do.
use it. So it's just,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we know what to do. Like straight up, it's just instinctive. It's in our blood. Like, and it's just
Mm,
about respecting like differences. Like there are some things that we can do that they can do, and vice versa. Like we have
yeah,
differences.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
what
yeah.
different races are for. Like it's not disrespect. Oh,
Mm,
this is that you're doing. No, like
mm.
I'm talking about, everybody had their chance, right?
You have to have a certain mindset, a true understanding of everybody's part in the big picture on this third dimension and on this planet, and etc. You know what I mean? And the only reason this thing is out of balance is because like a small faction of people want to want to put their vision of how things should be on all the rest of us.
Yeah.
It took advantage, of a time in which everybody was asleep. You know what I mean? You know, and yeah, it's that's a very valid point. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, we have to let go of all the isms and schisms that literally have been having all this infighting amongst humanity, because all we literally have to do is come together, and then we can form our own
Hmm.
reality on this planet. You know what I'm saying? And get connected to nature. You know what I'm saying? Because the reality is, most people that they might say they are, but most people that are doing things or think with a certain low vibrational thing, they are going against nature. And nature,
Yeah, yeah.
nature will take care of them too. But go ahead, brother.
I ground every single day because like that, like I live close to the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Every single day I ground. You know, that's almost like the first thing that I do
Mm-hmm.
because I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that's when you'll have a steady and potent form of thinking where you'll be able
Mm-hmm.
to execute exactly what you want to do,
Yeah.
like very properly and smoothly, right? And it calms you down because it you release anxiety through it, but also like
Mm-hmm.
for me to be grounded is like we're already spiritual and you know as men very electric, right? So to ground yourself and to walk on the earth, it does really like balance you out and makes you feel more stable.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's one thing that
Yeah.
like a lot of people probably really don't do, even though if they're spiritual, even though they might meditate. Grounding is just like one of the most like
Mm-hmm.
I think of doing the most essential things in like okay how they live. Like they were like you know mostly shirtless whatever. So I'm at the beach and I'm making sure I'm getting like sun in my entire body.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for my melanin and everything, for my health and nutrition. Just like the sunlight is like the first like form of healing. And then I'm
Yeah.
mostly in the ocean, right? It
Shoot.
has like all the minerals in there. And then I'm you know grounding. I'm walking on the sand. And most
Mm-hmm.
some of the times, most of the time when I was doing that, I was also just eating mostly fruits, like a mono fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes I would do just watermelon.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I would do just honeydew. Sometimes I would do just
Mm.
blueberries, just dates, right?
Sound like my wish list.
Yeah. And just to try out like what each one felt like and what the effect was on my body.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
And
Gotcha.
it you know it was amazing because I was doing that and I was using Yakai Awakens like herbal like
Mm-hmm.
the three bitters, right? Because I was doing like
Mm-hmm.
a detox. I've you know read his page and he definitely inspired me to rediscover the human body and the medical
Yeah.
system, right? And her not herbology
What
or
about
just
you?
no herbalism, yeah,
Yeah.
herbalism.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I started using them. I definitely had a really good experience with it. Cleaned out, it cleaned my entire body, and I felt even like lymphatic
Mm-hmm.
drainage a lot too. And it was the
Yeah.
most amazing experience of my life because I remember there's one time I was cleaning myself, I was cleansing. I felt amazing. Like I felt like I could like do everything for hours. Like I never ran out of energy, right? And then there was this
Yeah.
one time where I just wanted to do it just to like have the experience now to go back to doing liquids. But I did like a 3 day dry fast. But I was also still working, right? So I was working out still, but I was doing like a dry fast, right? And it wasn't too difficult because like I have a really good breath control, but
Mm-hmm.
having that sense of purity,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just being in the sand, like you know, being in the ocean, being in the beach and everything, and the wind and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot, and the sun, that
Yeah.
sense of
Yeah.
that feeling of just like that you're clean inside and out, you feel like like the way it makes your melanin feel is amazing. You know, that's the only way I
Yeah.
can describe it because you really
Yeah.
feel
That
like
makes it. That's
you
a
feel
good.
like you're
It's a everything
resonating,
you.
like you feel
Yeah.
more like a sound wave or energy
Mm.
signature or like a spirit than a body because your body's like vibrating much higher now. You know,
Everything you
almost yeah,
described. Everything you described literally is like some of the most beneficial things you could do. Like you know what I'm saying for the human
It-
body, especially a melanated body. Literally. You
yeah.
know. So I could. Okay. So I'm gonna jump forward a little bit. Well, not really forward, but just move forward. So I see that you have your headdress on in some of your pictures. You know what I'm saying? You
Hmm.
know, how did that come into the play into your life? Is that a part of your culture? Is it just you embracing some indigenous wisdom? How did that all? Where did that come about?
So when I was younger, people always said that as a kid I looked Indian, but like I thought they meant like India.
Mm.
Oh, my bad. I had no idea. I mean, at the time, I
Yeah.
knew Native Americans to be red, right? And
Hmm.
then later on, I found out they were like, you know, Black Indians, and also like they were like
Hmm.
Olmecs. And I saw the Olmec head and how I looked similar to it,
Hmm.
and I was like, oh, I'm
Hmm.
probably like indigenous to here, right? And I
Hmm.
was just like, okay,
Hmm.
cool, but with not that much research, I just didn't know that much. And then later on, I started learning more. I learned about. I was desperately looking for a tribe to join. I was like, bro, I need like some kind of like something to join, like because I felt like
You
whatever
need your
one I
tribe. You need
was.
to find your family, man.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, to find like people that I
Yeah,
resonate with, right? And then I found New Lava
yeah.
Nation, of course, and it felt like, it was meant to be because I really wanted to join that tribe. And I don't know, like, it could be the tribe I was part of in my past life or what my true heritage is, but
Mm,
because I'm from New York, right? So whatever, they moved down, but I just liked when I heard the word Yamasi,
mm,
the and it being like the gentle ones. I always
mm,
felt like that was my pure signature as a person.
mm,
And since it was the original tribe that like even the Cherokee came from, I thought like that makes more sense in terms of like being the Moors and also the original because it's like everything came from Yamasi. Like I learned of the Yamasi history and like basically every other branch of Native American in terms of their names come from the everybody um represents themselves first and foremost as Yamasi, you know?
mm.
And so like after not legally um nationalizing yet, but just realizing more about the culture out. I have the Native
Yeah.
American flute I've been playing since I was in college, for 3 years now. And I have like, I have the Moorish flag in my room
Mm-hmm.
and I was studying law with my friends and whatnot. And I know the difference between L and Bay, right? And just the different
Yeah,
terms
yeah, yeah.
and yeah, yeah,
Studying.
and
Yeah, just
whatnot. Just
studying.
study. Yeah, I study.
Just learning and
Yeah.
studying. Okay. All right.
And
So,
funny experience,
so
right?
we. Yeah. Go ahead.
To end it off, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I bought it right before Thanksgiving, right? Thanksgiving Day happens,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm thinking of like, oh, do I want to do this? This is that, or should I wear it? And I decide putting it on, and I put it on, and then I bring my flute out, and I'm playing it outside, right? And then as I'm playing it outside, my mother comes outside, and then she's recording me, and makes like a cool post in terms of like the angle and whatnot. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I could post this, right? And then I post it, and it's like me like wearing the headdress and playing the flute. And it was really melodic. It was a good
Mm-hmm.
song. It looked
Mm-hmm.
amazing, right? This is that. And then I remember, and it being on Thanksgiving, like I thought it was so funny because it was like like a strike back in a way because they just try to like put us
Yeah.
down with whatever kind of manipulation. And it just made it was like it was an amazing feeling. It felt like over.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. It's interesting to me, just even just dealing with life. Like now, it's like sometimes you just do things and you have no reason why, and you do them, and then they make sense. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you don't. I don't know if it's like you're just subconscious. I don't know if it's like your ancestors take over. Whatever the case may be. But it's like a lot. I noticed that in a lot of us now, even dealing with stuff like dealing with um ancient like you're saying indigenous wisdom, indigenous rituals, indigenous magic.
Mhm.
Sometimes people just make up their own thing that works for them when it comes to magic. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like,
I've done
yeah,
I've
you know
done
what I'm
that
saying?
before.
Yeah, yeah, because it's you. It's like if
I've
you're a
made up
part
my
of the
own
all
meditations
universe.
that like work with my
Yeah,
mind
exactly.
and like it I feel like we naturally improvise. Like no matter
Yeah, yeah,
whatever's
exactly.
given to you, you're gonna add your own twist to it because you're not the same as everybody else and you have
Everybody
your own
else,
way of
exactly.
doing
Yeah,
it.
because as long as you, and like you were saying earlier, as long as you're connected to source, connected to nature, you can write your own. You can make your own path. You know what I'm saying? Nobody says you can't. You know what I mean? That's another reason why I think it's important. It's important to have a good spiritual foundation, even with like joining organizations, etc. But still, once you get to them, certain organizations, whatever the case may be, you still keep growing,
Hmm.
and then you keep on making your own way inside of the foundation. Like martial arts, for example, you can learn. Like I do Shotokan karate, right? You can learn Shotokan, right? That different style, but some of these kicks and punches might not work for you. So you got to tweak it so it works for you. You're still doing the same style, but it's your version of it. That's life, bro. As far as everything that you're learning on to make your own style of, of being on this planet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So, but so what about Could you kind of elaborate more? Because I know we were talking about indigenous wisdom. Could you kind of elaborate a little bit more on that about dealing with indigenous?
Okay, so what I mean by indigenous wisdom is like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of this came from when I did read Blackwood Science, right? And
Mm-hmm.
what really blew my mind was it was talking about the concept of God, and then
Mm-hmm.
it said that the concept of God in Africa, like originally, was um all black men and all black women together, like as
Mm-hmm.
one, right? That's what God is,
Mm-hmm.
right? All of them, like black women, black men together, all of them at once, like unified, right? And it's an experience called divine unity, where we all share heart and
Mm-hmm.
mind, and like we're
Mm-hmm.
completely in tune with one another,
Yeah.
like a harmonic resonance, like a spiritual resonance, right?
Yeah.
And that like the first being like created itself out of like pure like nine ether, you would say, like pure darkness, just dark matter. Like I had dark matter body,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
straight up. And the
It
first
manifested.
earth was just an eternal spring, just
Mm-hmm.
sunlight and an eternal spring. And then after that they started like creating earths and whatnot, and it would like it would just be like these cosmic beings, these nine ether beings creating suns and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot and doing things, and then they created physical existence and moved on, became more dense and whatnot. And it talked about science. It talked about how like the sun is a proton in a way, and the Earth is
Mm-hmm.
an electron, and how like the
Mm-hmm.
Earth is also a cell,
Mm-hmm.
and all these different descriptions.
Mm-hmm.
There's this memory exercise where it basically said like the concept of the first self. The first self is like the self that like incarnated like way like in the beginning of time, that like is your God self, your ancestral self, you
Mm-hmm.
would say,
Mm-hmm.
initial
Yeah. Yeah.
self, like
Mm-hmm.
soul, right? Soul, yeah, exactly. And you're supposed to get into your ancestral memory, and ancestral memory is like the memory that like we as nine ether beings share together because of what our ancestors done, and not just personally but collectively we share those memories, right? And you can tap into
Mm-hmm.
that. And one of the things it talks about is there is a memory exercise that you practice. And it's really just about like doing it like every 3 days. And then you write down your notes. Like you do a time from like, let's say 30 minutes long. And then you just write down in your notes what you were doing, what you remember doing for those 30 minutes, right? Every like 3 days. And then you repeat it for a while, whatever. And get better at it. And
Mm-hmm.
I was practicing a certain meditation that increased my memory. So I coupled it with it, and I remembered a lot of different things about like my own life, even like close to birth and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
but also
Mm-hmm.
like in a crazy way, how difficult it was for us. Sorry, how difficult it was for us in terms of how far we come, you know,
Yeah.
like how far we've come, and the point that we're at right now, and that we're in a solar cycle, and like Dr. Earth this and these about to get free, and there's so many things going on, and the green comet's coming like pretty soon, right? I think some people saw it in the
Mm-hmm.
sky, like, and
Yeah.
it's seven great thunders, 7 year tribulation, but
Mm-hmm.
also it's like the
Mm-hmm.
time for us to rise. And I feel like it's just like this is like no game. This is like real life,
Yeah. This is real. This
like
is real
life
as it
is
gets right
happening
now.
right now. Like
Yeah.
people,
People don't realize that a lot of people are
man,
distracted,
yeah,
and I talk about this a lot, what I'm saying. I was talking about, with some of my people recently, just how we're so distracted. And we've been distracted, what I mean, like by things like sports and all these different things. We're so distracted from day one into truly cultivating our being. You know what I mean? There's so many distractions that were put in religion, politics, racism, like you said, all the isms and stuff. And
yeah,
and we're just here ultimately as seeing this place as a school, and learning. Now I ain't talking about a school about learning like their physics or nothing like this. I'm talking about, like you were going back originally talking about Hermes, the Emerald City. tablets, you know what I'm saying? The holy tablets, whatever, you know, real life information that elevates our being and soul. You know what I mean? But nah, man, you know what I'm saying? The boob tube got us running around. You know, they got line that's saying that all these viruses going to kill everybody, and you got to take shots to stop the viruses. So you got triple boogeyman walking
Crazy,
around.
crazy,
You know what I'm
crazy.
saying? It's like this place is the most insane place, like right now, and it's all distraction because of what you just said. This is the day and time in which the shit does hit the fan for
Trying to
real.
get people the mark of the beast. They tried to vaccinate us at work when I was working at the
Hmm.
beach. And I told my boss straight up, I walked up to him and I was like, look, I will quit. I will quit if there's a mandatory
Hmm.
vaccination
Hmm.
tomorrow.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
is no
A lot,
way.
a
And
lot,
then
a
I
lot of
told him, like,
people.
look,
Yeah,
I'm not with that whole I do holistic medicine. I take care of my own health, what yada
I'm
yada
good.
this, yada yada that. I will not be putting in that in my body. And then I remember the
Nah.
next day we're all talking about the vaccine, and then there was a guy named Kevin. He was Jamaican. He was really really smart. He's a runner.
Hmm.
He'd
Hmm.
wake up early, like 4:30, this that, do this all
Hmm.
bike and with his friends. And I was talking to him, and then um, I was like, "Yo, Tuskegee experiment." That's all I said. I just said
Yeah,
Tuskegee experiment, and then he
yeah.
explained to everybody what I was talking about, and I was just like,
Yeah,
"Yes, bro." That whole polio, whatever, like what I'm talking about. Like I remember seeing
yeah,
that when I
yeah,
was a
yeah, yeah.
kid in school,
Hmm.
and then I remembered it again, and I was like, "Yep, for sure not," because like
Yeah.
when have and then the fact that Bill Gates was like, "Oh, this is how we made the vaccine." Bill Gates made a vaccine. Wow. After talking about depopulation, and then on top of that, he says, "Oh, we should give it to black people first." And I was
Oh
like,
yeah,
"Are you
yo,
not?
I saw him.
Are
I
you
saw when
not
he
like
said that,
looking at
man. I
two
said,
and
yeah.
two?" I'm
And
like,
no, but
"This
the crazy
is
thing, that's
homicidal,
what he
bro."
did though.
Like,
Yo, but that's what they said. He like went to Africa first and was doing all this stuff. And I saw that like after the fact, and some people in Africa all limbed up and crunched up because of the stuff, man. No, it's no, but and that's a good point, man. It's like going back to everything you're saying. If you have the people waking up, and these people, the adversaries, they have this information. They use astrology like anybody else. They know the sign of times like anybody else. They have all that information, because they got them from us ultimately. They know there's a shift that's happened. You know, do you think they're just gonna give up and hand it over? No, they're gonna fight to the end. And that's this whole thing. It's the same playbook over and over. This time
yeah.
it's just on a man. That's insane. But that's a whole different conversation. So I'm gonna get into this metaphysics. Like, how does a how when did you what is your definition of metaphysics, and how does it important it to and how does it relate to your life?
To me, metaphysics is like meta being beyond. Physics is like physical, right? So it's like anything that's beyond the physical, or right. And I feel like that's in my entire life because I've always been, you would say, a crown chakra child. In the tropical zodiac, a Gemini, Libra, Libra. So there's a
Hmm.
lot of air. I'm always thinking. I was
Hmm.
very inquisitive, right? I would love to meditate, and hmm, to me, it's more about like centering on being disciplined, right?
Hmm.
Being able to execute exactly what you desire, like, and focusing on
Yeah.
the core intent, like your destiny, like what's your destiny, what's your purpose,
Hmm. And
right?
how do you
And
get there, right? And what do you,
how do you get there?
what
Yeah, yeah.
methods
What
are to
what
get
what do
there?
you have to
Yeah.
put in? And I
Yeah.
remember,
Yeah.
also going along with the yoga journey, like yoga really. Okay, so okay, my true purpose when I was really I'm doing yoga, what I was doing, and because I was sun gazing and trying to do the fruits, right? I was trying to, just like in the movie Lucy, I was trying to reach, or Limitless, I was trying to like reach like 100% brain power, right?
Hmm.
I remember learning about it when I was a kid. Them talking about like, oh, Paul, most people it's only like 10%.
Yeah.
Your genius is like 15 or whatever, right? And I was like, bro, like I bet reaching 100 is like you become a god at that point. like you have control
Yeah.
over everything, bro. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
everything. Like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
heard of Simeon Toko?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I'm
I
talking
was just
about? Like,
I
man's
was just listening.
yo,
You know, it's
yo,
funny,
yo, yo.
man. I was just
Fort
listening
that,
to,
bro,
you
just like
know,
a
peep
star, they
this,
cut
peep
him
this,
into
peep this.
14 pieces, bro.
Yeah,
14, and
peep
he
this.
refigured. Insane,
I
insane.
first heard him, David Wilcox, talk about him. He's a dude on Gaia, white dude, European.
Yeah,
And then that's when I first heard about him, right? And I was like, yo, that sounds like a interesting story. Then this another cat talked about it, but literally this morning, Asir, the Duke of Tears, was talking about on one of the most recent shows. And he showed pictures of him. You know what I'm saying? Nobody else. Asir showed pictures of him. He was holding up his shirt and showed wounds, like all this stuff that happened. It was a real person. Ain't no myth and nothing like that. They showed him showing the regeneration, and bruh, when I saw that, you know, you talking about all the mythology that might have been in my mind about non-ether beings being able to regenerate, be able to grow limbs. You know what I'm saying? That's all right there. That man was a living fact of everything that we thought might have been
yeah,
mythology.
yeah.
It's He was the real. And the deep thing about he was like, yo, y'all killing me up, chopping me up, like you were saying, 14 pieces, all this kind of stuff. He's still coming back. He's like, yo, listen, man, y'all, it's cool. You might not want me right now, but when it's time for us to get our shit, my whole crew is coming back. That's pretty much what he said. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah,
saying? He
exactly.
would be
Like,
like, he was
I'm not
literally,
the
he was
only
like,
one. After me,
yeah,
there'll
yeah.
be
He was like,
more.
yo,
And then he
when
just
it's
left.
time
And
to,
I'm like,
when it's time to make this stuff poppin', yo, what y'all gonna do with an army of us? You know what I'm saying? And it's just, amazing, and that all goes back into the fear of the transfer of power. Man, that goes into fear.
the
Mass.
fall of Babylon.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, all of that. You know what I'm saying? Just ultimately the cycle coming back into, like you said originally, the indigenous people, the rightful heirs of the planet,
Hmm.
getting the keys back. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
It all factors in that way. So we talk about the metaphysics. What about what intrigued you about quantum physics? Because I know you were big on that. What intrigued you about that?
What intrigued me about quantum physics was
Hmm.
when I was studying Nuwabu and talking about quantum, and a little bit beyond that was it was kind of funny when I was thinking about it in terms of swimming. I was thinking about like, okay, what if I could get like my stroke down to like a mathematical equation of like knowing exactly like when to move, what to do, how to swim in the water,
Hmm.
like measuring like space and time and in the way
Hmm.
that I move and how fast I move, depending on what I do and what I'm thinking. And I was like, quantum physics completely changed your life. Also, you're studying the fabric of reality, like real equations of how physics works.
Yeah.
And I was,
Hmm.
you know, so
Hmm.
I was definitely doing that, but I was also like, in a way, acting it out because I was observing the transformation in my own body when I was bodybuilding and also working out and running and moving in different ways. And when I would practice like Tai Chi or Qigong or comedic yoga, I would feel, as I was cultivating energy, I would feel like space, like yeah, I would feel like space move around me a little bit, and the resonance
Hmm.
from like the stars and the planets and the sun and the water and different people, right? And I would just feel like
Y'all
that
being
collective
body in
wave.
tune with everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
makes
Being in
sense.
tune.
That
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
yeah.
Just
Yeah.
feeling that feeling.
An interesting thing I think about, because there's one there was a movie, a documentary called oh God, I have it pinned on my IG page, I think, and my TikTok page. It's called oh, something. Is it? Anyway, I can't remember the name of it right now. I'm drawing a blank. But it has like the reptilian dude on it with the cover, and he's going like that, like keep a secret. Um, what's the name of it? It's on my I think it's something conspiracy or anyway, I can't remember the name of it right now. But there's a speaker on there, and he says like everything that we were taught is wrong, He was just breaking it down like physics, and he was talking about the way they teach us physics is wrong, algebra, all that stuff. It's all wrong. It's all specifically done on wrong way, so we don't really know how to really do it. One
Mm.
of the things I always thought was interesting about Dr. York, when he wrote his books that deal in physics and things, yeah, he taught it on a certain level, but he also taught things in which a way that wasn't like they taught it, and it made more sense that that stuff that they taught is wrong, and our stuff, you know what I'm saying? We have to teach our
It's
stuff the
correct.
proper,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, quite simply, it's the right way to do it. I thought that was really interesting. Just thinking about everything that's being pushed as us to learn about every aspect, history, food, health,
Even in the
science.
history books, they're taking away the Native Americans and like
Yeah, oh yeah, man. I mean, that's like I said. If you've seen some of my previous things, man, I be having some brothers and
taking out
eventually some
slavery.
sisters. Yeah, yeah, they be going in on that whole thing. I love that
Yeah.
topic
What is
because I'm
that?
if you go to certain parts, like in Virginia, right outside of Richmond, Virginia, it's like where the Powhatan Indians were, you know, and Pocahontas was here, and dealing with the Huguenots, and all of this stuff. If you know your true history, they're telling you all this was pretty much our land, and they took it over. You know what I'm saying? It's just
Yeah.
interesting what you really see when your blinders are off and you really do see the truth, on all levels,
Oh yeah,
everything
it's
we
a
talk about
big it's a
health.
big change.
It's a big scam that they did. This their whole, this whole fake matrix, man. It's the, you you
Like a
you
Disneyland of
yeah, exactly.
sensory suffocation,
Yeah, exactly. That's a
over
good way to
drowning,
put it,
like
man.
literally trying to
Yeah.
overcloud everything in your body, in your senses, and corrupt them and make you into
Yeah,
like a black or
and
white
see,
devil,
here's the deep
like
thing
trying
though,
to
man.
extract. Yeah, yeah, really trying to like suck your soul energy,
Yeah, but like I was saying earlier, like once you're in tune, you know, and we saw all this stuff with the scam, the COVID scam, the and the jab and all that stuff. And when you sit back and you just watch all the stuff in front of you, like this looks like some bull right here. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
literally but a lot of people, they didn't see that, and they,
Crazy
and a
how
lot of
that
people had,
happened. It was just like, that's when I really learned like there were really like robots in the world. I was like, nah, how can you just do that? Like, yo, I was straight up like
yeah,
running for my life. Like,
yeah.
ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way. Everybody else can get it. I'm
But
screwed.
and that's like the apex of the conditioning and the programming. That's just to show you how
But
well it can
yeah,
be done if
exactly.
you're,
Like you
you know what I
really
mean?
got that. And then what happened? A year or two later, they're talking about the side effects and like, come on
Yeah,
now.
and yeah, I mean, but but even not even that being a specific target point, still just the minds, the information put out in front of us, and people not being able to have their own discernment to analyze the fact if it's truly true or not, just going with the flow. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like it amazes me still today. You know what I mean? But all the things they say, many are called, few are chosen. That the 5%, out of the 95%. I'm going on, but there is a a true small percentage of the majority that actually get it. You know what I mean? So it is what it is, man. For the people that get it, kudos. For the people that don't, I hope you get on the train to, like you said, ultimately it all comes at the knowledge itself. That's what it ultimately comes down to. Because if you're not on dealing with knowledge yourself, what do you get knowledge of? Who's giving you the
Mhm.
knowledge?
Yeah. You don't know if you don't know who you are, you don't know anything at all.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know
Like
something. It's just what
that's
they
the
gave
first
you.
like that's the first thing I learned when I was 15. I was like, like, know thyself. I saw the quote somewhere in a book, I
Hmm.
think, or like YouTube, and I was just like, that makes perfect sense. I just gotta learn
Yeah,
more about me.
exactly. Hmm.
Okay.
On
And
any
from
in any
yeah.
aspect, any and all aspects, from the smallest things, about your own physical discipline, like you said, to the highest things about how you connect to the universe. Know thyself because it's all connected. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Man. So another thing I want to talk about. We talk about healing. Um, when you talk about healing earlier, could you elaborate a little bit more about healing? What type of healing are you talking about? You talking about like healing um, from past trauma, or what type of healing were you dealing with? Talking about?
For this type of healing, I would say it's not really like you're trying to heal from trauma, right?
Hmm.
I feel like you would say it's physical healing
Okay.
in terms of what I'm doing with the diet or the lifestyle, right?
Okay.
Like
Okay.
pretty soon, I wanted to sync it with the green comet that was coming, but I want to start a 90-day grape fast of just doing grapes, to really just
Okay.
cleanse out like my entire body and do like lymphatic drainage and whatnot, and just to go on a cleanse to be able to prepare
Oh,
myself
for
for
cleanse. Okay. Okay. I got you. I
yeah
got you.
to be
I'm
able to
with you.
prepare myself for when I'm gonna seriously gonna be training and
Yeah.
toning myself, getting muscle and whatnot, and getting stronger and more flexible. But obviously, like
Yeah.
adding that into my diet, you would say, or livid, would completely like supercharge my melanin because it's like the like grape sugar and lime sugar is the closest thing to like the purest form of fructose that our body needs.
Mm.
Like it's you would say almost like genetically identical to like
Hmm.
what we
Kind of
already
like
have.
chlorophyll is like close to
Sorry.
chlorophyll is like close to blood.
Yeah, it's like that, just like that, just like
Oh.
that. You're right. And I've
Yo.
done it before, right? I've done like a great fast before, and this one time I was taking a metaphysical psychology class, right, by Dr. Phil Valentine. And after the class, I remember just thinking about like um, just like the principles, the supreme being, like the traveler, like the hidden one, this whatnot, different principles. Yeah, like literally just different principles.
Hmm.
And if I can remember correctly, mm, with the whole healing aspect, right?
Hmm.
Like doing all those things I talked about before when I was working at the beach, sun gazing, sun rising,
Hmm. Hmm.
yoga, like eating right, working out. I was dancing, I was singing, I was playing guitar. I was doing every single thing I ever wanted to do since I was a kid. I was liberating my heart, my spirit, my soul. I
Hmm.
was healing. I was obviously healing from ancestral traumas, but the greatest thing about it was I was trying to push my limits, like in every single way.
Hmm.
So it was like balls to the wall. Like I'm being intense. I'm basically ramboing everything. I'm
Hmm.
working on myself every single day. I'm seeing how can I become more of a man, more of a god. I'm reading. I'm talking about like everything I could possibly think about as fast as possible. Like I would like not rush it, but I would be like running it, like for real. And I did it for like a year and a half, you would say, just
Hmm.
straight. Like every single day, I was doing something like that, and it was some of the greatest progress of my entire life. Like it really put me in a class that was unknown even to me. Like I didn't know you could be that raw. Like I didn't know you could be that like disciplined, right?
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
things that I could do, like astonished, like surprised me. Really, really
Hmm.
surprised me. And I just saw like how I was more capable just because of discipline and training. And it goes a
Yeah.
long way. I feel like there's one thing that not everybody has in the spiritual community. They might like eat right or, you know, live some type of way, but really I would say spirituality is more about living a life of holiness. Because if you really want to be spiritual, you want to be perfect. You want to be pure, and holy. Holy just is like
Hmm.
what I'm talking about. And
Yeah.
you know, healing is mostly about activating that green light energy, right? In the heart chakra.
Yeah.
and living
Hmm.
in a way of love, because divine love is the highest vibration, ashuk.
Yeah.
And it's
Hmm.
really that, like, what I've learned even on my journey, even as an athlete, and thinking about like trying to be greater, fitter, and stronger.
Hmm.
I've learned that, like, just loving the sport, loving my life, loving my friends and family, you know loving what I do, who I am, why I am, the things that I've gone through, things that I'm going through, things that I will go through, right? And they're just appreciating life itself and everything, and the
Hmm.
Creator, the Most High.
Hmm.
Um, I swim much faster. I perform better. Life is easier, and I feel like I don't have to try. I feel like sometimes I'm moving
Hmm.
on autopilot, and like everything is just flowing in the most effortless and most perfect direction.
Hmm.
You know?
I think that, and I think that goes perfect with the title, because in nature, that's like a perfect way of what you just described and being connected with nature and being able to go with the flow of nature versus everything we talked about before on the negative sense, dealing with all the fear and all that stuff. That that machine that pushes all that tries to bring you into the matrix, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's like the more you simplify things and just be connected with nature, it's more harmonious. And everything else that we described, all that kind of crazy stuff we seeing, that's a part of all of that, the machine. You know what I mean? And I think that's a perfect way to kind of show the difference, between nature and this machine that's trying to, devour everybody. We're gonna, brother. I'm officially gonna add you on to my list as the geniuses on the Polka Dot Rabbit podcast. You got the title. You got the title, and we're gonna have to keep up with you with your training and to the
Nah,
Olympics.
for
And
sure. I'm gonna let you know what's good. I
yeah,
got a
man.
lot of
And I,
things in
I need
store.
I need a front row ticket wherever you going to wherever Olympics, wherever it's gonna be the next time you're training. I'm gonna be there in the front row. Hook me up with a good seat.
I
You
got you,
know,
man. For
right
sure, for
next
sure.
to I gotta think right next to Erica Badu. Give her a ticket too. I'm gonna sit right next to
That's hilarious.
her.
That's hilarious. Nah, I feel like everybody's gonna love it though. They're gonna be like, "Yo, like one of us, like
Yeah, exactly.
swimming and everything." Everybody's gonna come up randomly, like, I'm gonna watch this one." Like, you know?
That's excellent,
Yeah.
man, brother. It was good talking to you, man. And
You too.
yeah,
You too.
man. If y'all haven't, man, check the good brother out on IG. Jizza the Alchemist. You know what I'm saying?
Easily Alchemist. Yeah.
Uh, Jizza, yeah. But yeah, but that's it for us here at the Polka Dot Rabbit podcast. As always, please follow, like, and share. Get this nice, this good information out there. We're trying to, we talked a lot of good subjects tonight, a lot of good information. So that's it for this. Anything else got for the people, man? You want to give the people how they can
I
reach
was
you or
just saying,
whatever the
like,
case may
live
be.
life to the fullest. Live life to the fullest is my favorite motto to
Mm-hmm.
say to anybody. All things are possible. Who you are is only limited by who you think you are. And
Mm-hmm.
as I say in my Instagram motto, knowledge of self is supreme. You got to know yourself if you want to know anything in the world, and if you
That's
want
it.
to, know God, you got to know who you are. You know, live a righteous
I love
lifestyle,
it.
live in tune with
Great,
ma'at, live in tune
positive.
with virtue, purity, kindness. Right? Just be a good
Mm-hmm.
person. Strive to be as
Mm-hmm.
virtuous as possible. Your life will be perfect, if not like like joyous, ecstatic, and just free, fun. That's what it's
Yeah.
gonna be like. Because virtue is health, virtue is vigor, virtue is vitality, virtue is what a true man or a true woman is really made of, or a god or goddess. Like a lawgiver, like an L.
Yeah. Yeah. Y'all listen to this young brother, man. Y'all notice I got these young gods and goddesses coming on here, and I got plenty more coming up, man. We're gonna keep on showing showing the people that it's it's people are living, like he said, a righteous lifestyle. People ain't just talking about it. People are really truly making their own way with helps of, like you were saying, like information from Dr. York and some of the different teachers, Dr. Valentine. People are getting this information and internalizing it and making the best uh, the best the best versions of the person they can be.
Hmm.
So that's a very important thing to spread that type of information out to the rest of the world so people can see that it is happening. So I appreciate you, good brother, man, and I can't wait to have you on next time. We're gonna talk about another subject. But that's it for both of us, y'all. Peace and love, everybody. Peace and love, my good brother. And until next time, y'all be out.
What do? Take it easy.
Polka Dot Rabbit Podcast. We out. Peace.